Yeah. You see, people take life to a different dimension. You understand me? But a Yahweh me seek and a Yahweh me serve, because Him are the God of Israel, which are the true living God. You understand me? He's 360 degrees of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So what more they want to know? You understand me? Praise Yahweh, and everything in your life are going to be all right. You understand me, my brother? Trust me, man. Listen, Yahweh, send me an angel today, cast all my sins away, as I kneel and pray. Yahweh, send me an angel today, cast all my sins away, as I kneel and pray. You got to be strong, no matter what goes on. Hold up your heads and time to move on. It's not easy. Life is not easy. No matter what they do, they will laugh and talk with you, then turn around and try to hurt you. It's not easy. Life is not easy. Yahweh, send me an angel today, cast all my sins away, as I kneel and pray. Yahweh, send me an angel today, cast all my sins away, as I kneel and pray, as I kneel and pray. Cast all my sins away, as I kneel and pray. Yahweh, send me an angel today, cast all my sins away, as I kneel and pray. I am not ashamed to praise my Father's name. Put Major Riley in the Hall of Fame is not easy. Life is not easy. Life is in a mess. We have to do our best to alleviate the stress. The truth we possess is not easy. Life is not easy.
Please deliver me, Yahweh. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me be strong in your word. Let your truth be heard. But you're my strength and my shield. The sound of your voice makes the universe yield. Oh, yeah, yeah. I said Yahweh's here on his throne to lead his children safely home. Glory. Glory, hallelujah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Wherever you lead me, Father, I will follow. Let my roots grow deep, deep, deep. Ooh, and not shallow. Oh, 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 yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yahweh is here. Oh, Israel, have no fear. Don't you know that summer is nigh? And he said, on eagle wings we'll fly. Yahweh's here on his throne to lead his children safely home. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Yahweh's here on his throne to lead his children safely home. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yahweh's here on his throne to lead his children safely home. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Yahweh's here to lead his children home, and that's glory.
The Nation of Yahweh presents The Unfolding Light. Today's show is brought to you by Builders of the Highway Foundation, Yahweh Life Center, Neo Jazz School of Music, Yahweh Education Centers, and the Temple of Brothers and Sisters of Goodwill. And now for your host, Dr. Lud Yisrael.
Boker Tov and Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to the Nation of Yahweh's weekly teleconference, The Unfolding Light. I am your host, Dr. Lud, along with my co-host is actually out on assignment, but sitting in today, I have a very special guest in studio today, none other than the artist known as Yizrakia. Boker Tov, brother. How you doing?
Doing good.
Doing good. I hear you have a lot of cool things going on in your life.
Yeah, I suppose one could say that.
All right. Well, we'll talk a little more about that when we get to Power Talk. But today on Unfolding Light, we'll have Who is Yahweh by the Most Honorable Yahweh Ben Yahweh. Directly after that, we'll have a keynote message from the Master Teacher, the founder of the Nation of Yahweh, the Most Honorable Yahweh Ben Yahweh. And directly after that, we'll have the part where we all take part in unfolding the light, and we call it Power Talk. And now for our prayer. If we will all stand and face the east with outstretched hands, O Yahweh, God of our salvation, save us, gather us together, and deliver us from this heathen, so that we may give thanks to thy holy name and glory in thy praises. Blessed be the holy name of Yahweh and Yisrael forever. O Yahweh, let them be confounded that persecute us, but let not us be confounded. Let our enemies be dismayed, but let not us be dismayed. Bring upon our enemies the day of evil, and destroy them with double destruction. O Yahweh, forgive our fathers for breaking your laws, and please forgive us for breaking your laws. Help us to never bring shame upon thy great name, nor reproach against thy works. For surely we have turned ourselves to thee, O Yahweh, trying to be upright. And as we confess our faults, please grant us protection against all of our faults. Cleanse us of our secret faults, and guide us to the best of morals. For surely our prayers and our sacrifices, our lives and our deaths, are all for thee, O Yahweh. Tefillah. Avenu Shabbat Shemayim, Yikadesh Shemeaka, Tavo Makuteraka, Yad Zerizonka, Kim Bashemayim Kain Ba'aretz, Elekan Kukenu, Tain Lanu Hayom, Uslat Lanu, All Kartienu, Kimosa Sol King, Gamanatnu, Lakotiem Lanu, Veal Tevienu, Lade Nisayom, King Kal Senu, Min Hara, Kilaka, Hamamlaha, Veha Givera, Veha Tefieret, Leolame, Olamin Sila. We thank thee, O Yahweh, O living and eternal King, who has so mercifully restored our souls within us. So let everything that has breath praise Yahweh.
Remember that this is the morning of the third day, and I shall rise again. I am the resurrection. All of prophecy tells you that I shall rise again. It's all about that. Luke chapter 2, verse 34. No doubt about it. Again, I love you forever, bless you forever. I remind you once again, my associates are children of the light. That just brings laughter to my heart, to my soul, to realize that at last I have those of you that love peace. And I only want to be in the presence of those of you that love peace. I love you forever. Shalom Aleichem.
Praise Yahweh. So who is Yahweh? Yahweh is a name that you should know, because it's the duty of the Son of God to proclaim his Father's name. And here you have a whole bunch of people going to church, 400,000 churches, and they don't know the name of the Father. They say such silly things like, Father, God, help me. Both of them titles. Father is a title, God is a title. Who's going to answer to that? The purpose of the coming of the Son is to reveal the name of the Father. That's who he prayed to, our Father, and he called his name. He said, hallowed be, holy be thy name. How can it be holy to you and you don't know it? Interesting, isn't it? There are a lot more interesting questions than that about that situation. But when you begin to read your Bible, as I call this to your attention, you will discover from the Old Testament of Genesis all the way through Revelations, it's all about the name of the Father. It's all about his name. But somebody got you calling some other kind of name other than the Father's name. And you don't know his name. And unless you learn his name, then you're never going to move from poverty to riches. And if you don't come into the knowledge of the name. Haven't you ever wondered why it is that you have the same God, have the same churches, and the same names that white people have? I mean, have you noticed? You do. Our people have the same, right? Isn't it strange how God always answers white people's prayers? And black folks' prayers don't seem to be the same magnitude. You know, you say, well, I get my prayers answered. Well, why don't you ever get answered to be the ruler? I mean, you know, my people are always on their knees in front of white people asking white people to let them be accepted. Why do you need to ask white people for acceptance? Why don't you just ask God? Doesn't your God have enough power to make you accepted? Why can't you be the people that everybody else wants to be among? Why are you always running after somebody else to be among them? What's wrong with your God? Why do you have to go around always on your knees with your hat in your hand begging for a job from white people? Why don't your God just give you some jobs? Oh, I have to ask you some serious questions because white people move from poverty to riches every day. Huh? They come from Russia. They come from Europe. They come from England. They come from all over the world with nothing on the ship. Come and get in your neighborhood. Come with a buggy and a basket and a wagon and push it around in your neighborhood and move from poverty to riches out of your pockets. You live in the neighborhood and stay poor and just pray all the time. You prayed enough to rule all the world. So who is Yahweh? Yahweh is the God of the Bible. He's the God of the Hebrews. In the beginning, Yahweh created the heavens and the earth. Yahweh is the man that beat up on Pharaoh. Y'all remember how he put plagues in Egypt? That was Yahweh did that. Yahweh is the one that when Pharaoh got real sassy, he drowned him in the Red Sea. That's Yahweh who did it. Yahweh is the man that when Daniel refused to bow down to another nation and quit facing the east and praying, when he refused to stop praying to his God, which was Yahweh, they said, well, we're going to put you in the lion's den and starve them. Threw him in the lion's den. Yahweh locked the jaws of the lion. Lions could do him no harm. Rulers got scared. Came and got Daniel out and made him a ruler. Right? I just want you to know who Yahweh is. He made the sun, the moon, the stars, all what you see and haven't seen. Okay. So who is Yahweh ben Yahweh? I am his son. I am his son. That's who I am. I am the son of Yahweh. I don't care who else is the son or who else it makes me no difference. I'm not here tonight concerning myself with who is the son of who. I'm the son of Yahweh. I have to tell you who I am. Yahweh is my father. I am his son. What makes me his son? What makes me Yahweh's son is I do not have a will outside of his. I have no thoughts, no ideas, and no program outside of Yahweh. You'll find that all that I ever do, all that I've ever done, and all that I'm ever going to do is found right in the Bible, and it's traced right to his will. No exception. I take no credit for all that I have built. It's all in his name. Yuhei-Wafe. That's one of the things that make me his son. Also, I have no difference in his word. I only speak his words. Even the words I've spoken to you thus far, the principles of those words are all in the Bible. Every single one of them is found in the Bible. No exceptions. So I walk as he says walk. I talk as he says talk. I act as he says act. I do whatever he says do. I have no idea of doing it any other way. Those are the things that makes me his son. I obey his laws, his statutes, his judgments, his commandments. That's why I'm successful. He said in his holy word that if I obey his laws, statutes, judgments, and commandments, that he would make everything, all the works of my hand would prosper. So all the works of my hands, it's prospering. I'm telling you why. Now, what about you? You might say, well, if you're the son of Yahweh, can I be? Of course you can. Of course you can be the sons of Yahweh. Every one of you can be. Every one of you can be the daughters of Yahweh. All you have to do is like I do. Obey his will, just like I do. You automatically become. You believe on his name, then you have eternal life. There's no other name under heaven that you can be saved in other than God who created it. You can't be saved in no name but the name of the one who created everything. And he gave his son a name higher than all the angels in heaven. What's the name higher than all the names that the angels could possibly have? The Father's name. There can be no name higher than the Creator's. So the son has to come in his father's name. Just like if your name is Davis, then your father was named Davis. If your name is Smith, your father's name was Smith. My name is Yahweh, so my father's name is Yahweh. That's logical.
Know and rest your mind assured. Our eyes have seen his works before. And until my last days, 'tis Yahweh I will praise. Yahweh.
Praise Yahweh. I certainly like to thank the most honorable Yahweh Ben Yahweh for coming to us and teaching us who is Yahweh as no one else ever could do. Praise Yahweh. Also, I want to thank the most honorable Yahweh Ben Yahweh for teaching us our true history, which used to be the world's best kept secret. Praise Yahweh. And now a brief bio on the master teacher, the founder of the nation of Yahweh, the most honorable Yahweh Ben Yahweh. Yahweh Ben Yahweh came to Miami, Florida alone in 1979 to become the spiritual leader and founder of the nation of Yahweh. Although he took a vow of poverty that same year, within 7 years he guided the nation and those who followed his teachings and principles to amass an economic empire in the greater Miami area and throughout the United States worth over $250 million. Under his direction, the nation of Yahweh has grown to encompass disciples, followers, believers, and supporters in thousands of cities across the United States of America and indeed throughout the four corners of the earth. The University of Yahweh, for which he has established the curriculum and for which he has received great acclaim in educational excellence, currently has locations across the United States. The moral teachings of Yahweh Ben Yahweh is bringing about a change in the lives of individuals and causing them to take a different approach to life. This approach is based on the scripture which reads, "It is more blessed to give than to receive." Yahweh Ben Yahweh continues to give. That which he is given cannot be measured in monetary wealth. Yahweh Ben Yahweh is giving the world the keys to success in life politically, educationally, economically, socially, and spiritually. And now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Grand Master of the Celestial Lodge, the architect of the universe, the blessed and only potentate, the founder of the nation of Yahweh. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Yahweh Ben Yahweh.
I'm building my kingdom with you who voluntarily receive me. Behold, I stand at your door and I knock. Some of you are sitting back in there, got your door all locked up, hollering out, "Who is it?" I don't mind telling you, Yahweh Ben Yahweh. And I'm calling out and saying, there's a terrible storm, it's a severe storm headed your way. And it's called the fall of Satan. And this is the time of Jacob's trouble.
Your mind has been so dissolved into another people that they know you have lost your fall. And they know your mind is full of chaos. And that wherever you go, you cause confusion. Wherever you go, I'm talking about people outside of Yahweh, you cause chaos. You will completely break down anything you allowed into. Because you're without form. And you're void. Utterly destroyed. Clean, dissolved. And because of this, you are completely disturbed and the earth is disturbed. No wonder after I made the earth and come and get on it, nobody knows me. No wonder when I come to my own, they receive me not. I come as an alien to my people, because it says here that in verse 22 that my people have no understanding, none understand. I mean, when it comes to understanding, my people have none of it. Now, that's a rough condition to be in. And that when it comes to do good, you have absolutely no knowledge of good. All of your wisdom is to do evil. Now, it takes a miracle worker to come among a people unrecognized. Are you beginning to see the picture? Here is God, who made everything, coming to his own people, totally unrecognized by them. Why? Because I am the good man. I am the good shepherd. And you have no knowledge of good, so you can't possibly recognize me. I'm the eleemosynary one. I am charity. I am the charitable one. And it's impossible for you to understand my charitableness because you have no knowledge of it. I'm talking about none of it. When I talk about understanding, your mind is totally void. Imagine trying to talk to a people in a language that they don't understand. I'm steady speaking allegories, and you never heard of such a word. It's a wonder I'm still here. I had to be strong and of good courage. I had to. Oh, I wish you knew where I've been going out to Venus and back, and I've been out to Pluto and back, and I went out to Titan and back, and I've been out to Orion and back, and I've been out to Arides and Pleiades and back, and I've been back and forth several times while I'm just talking to you. I just don't. But just try to imagine God coming to a hard-hearted, hard-headed, stiff-necked, a people who rebel against good. And I have nerve to come teaching you goodness. When all you know is evil. You talk about a tough job that requires a miracle. This doesn't require a man of God. This job required God himself. I couldn't send Moses to do this one. You caused Moses to miss seeing old Jerusalem. See, I couldn't send the prophet to get you. I couldn't send Noah, Abraham, and Lot to get you. And everything that came to you 1900 years ago got his head cut off, like, huh? John had his head cut off, and others hung on the cross and crucified. I mean, that was when you still knew you were Hebrews. Yeah, my book tells me 4,000 years ago you still knew you were Hebrews. Today, I come to a people so utterly broken down, you don't know who you are. Your mind is totally dissolved. You want to be an Indian, you want to be a Mexican, a Cuban, you want to speak pig Latin. I mean, you want to be everything but what you are. And I had nerve to come to you. Fierce people. I mean, Yahweh told me, said, when you wake up, said, these people are going to look so mean. Don't be afraid of their looks. Dangerous people, utterly broken down. Mind gone. It was understood that in the last day of the Son of Man, that you would be in such bad shape that you'd have to, that in Revelation 5:2, no man in heaven nor in earth or under the earth won't have anything to do with you. Hey, you know that little passage on through there, verse 5, and the elders and everybody were weeping and crying. And they said, it's not but one that's going to be able to handle those niggas. That's a lion. He's going to take a lion. Of the tribe of Judah too. He can't just come from somebody. He's going to have to be an absolute root of David. Void of all understanding. And only the God of heaven could give the earth form. But see, over in Genesis chapter 1, it said that the only way this condition was changed on the earth was that Yahweh moved. Yeah, Genesis 1 and 2. It said, see, it took the move of God. It took the move of Yahweh. Yahweh had to make a move to change this condition. Move up on the face of the waters is what? The people. Revelation chapter 17, verse 15. Read.
And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are people and multitudes and nations and tongues.
That's where the horse sits, is America. It means a country where all different nationalities and tongues and languages are spoken within her borders. And where these people are that have no form, who are sottish, utterly broken down, clean dissolved. Mine is no longer any resemblance. You can't, there's just nothing left of your mind, of your former self. Now, this is the kind of people that I come to and that have come among us and come to me to teach. And I had to be able to say the right words to get you here. And since your mind was only evil, I had to give you a lot of militant talk. Because all you wanted to do was kill. You'd already been through several riots. See, you rioted before I came. Oh yes, you did. Oh yeah. I didn't really come here and start no riots. You rioted before I came to town. You was riding over dead folk. Martin Luther King died. You like just completely wiped out Miami. Huh? I mean, it was still some Black Panthers roaming around. They're talking about when the revolution comes. Huh? Y'all don't remember? See, I remember the kind of folk I came to. So, come talking about being good, they'd have called me a Tom. I had to prove I was the baddest man on the planet. I mean, I roared so loud that niggas used to come by here in droves and busloads just to look at my body and touch me and shake my hand and say, I just want to shake your hand, because I don't understand how no man can roar and say the things you do against white folk and you still alive. I just want to say I touched you. Oh, you know I'm right. That's what attracted all the crowds, because I had a bunch of killers who wanted to kill. I didn't teach you that. You came like that. I mean, you came in here by the thousands. It was tens of thousands. You hated everything. You hated everybody. You hated all white folks. You hated niggas. You hated Uncle Toms. You hated preachers. You hated your husbands and your wives, your boyfriends and your girlfriends. You hated your children. I mean, you just hated hate. Yeah, you didn't have no love in you. Love and good is God. You didn't have none of that. Go back in your mind. Come on. Just go back now to the place where you first saw the light and check yourself out. That's what had you excited. And I had to keep you excited until I could get some sense of good into you. And the more I begin to reveal good, the more niggas begin to leave. Yes, you my witnesses. The more I begin to teach you how to be good and teach you what good is, because see, the law is perfect. And it was okay. See, you didn't come to me because you heard I was teaching the law. You came for the militancy. You thought at any time, I mean, you wanted to do a Passover bad. You wanted to do a Samson and get you 1,000 Philistine with the jawbone of an ass. I mean, you couldn't wait. You said, I'm waiting on the Spirit of Yahweh to come up on me. I'll kill 1,000 Philistines all by myself. Yeah, I know I got plenty. Do I have a witness? But when you got here, you heard me from the beginning. I was teaching you the law, and I continued to bring you the law. And see, it was okay long as it was just history. See, I wasn't crazy. I understood where all of y'all were coming from. 10,000 of you sitting around me. I understood. See, what I was teaching was fine long as it was history. Now, you know what history is. In the past. Long as my people thought the law was for the past. You know, you were full of churchianity, so you didn't believe the Old Testament counted because you've been taught in churchianity all your life. The Old Testament didn't count. So when I was teaching you, I had to tell you it was history. I couldn't tell you it was now. Every now and then I'd kind of slip and tell you it hasn't been fulfilled yet. Some of you remember. I mean, I slipped every now and then and dropped that in, and I hurried on past that, you know. Because I knew I still had to reach you. I had a difficult task. Your being here today is a miracle. As long as you thought it was history in the past, it meant you didn't have to live no law now. If I was still only teaching history, you couldn't get in here tonight. But when you start talking about Genesis to Malachi is now, see, I enjoyed it, but see, I got to go. I got a few things, you know. I got a little business in here. In other words, we didn't want to live the law. Didn't want to dress like the law required. I had to use great dexterity. You know, like John Hawkins, I had to use real dexterity among you wild folk. So I said, when we come to class, we should at least practice some of the law. Just when you come inside the building, bring a rag with you and let's put it on our heads. Half the congregation didn't come back.
Know and rest your mind assured. Our eyes have seen his works before. Until my last days, 'tis Yahweh I will praise, Yahweh.
Praise Yahweh. Wow, what a message. Minds were clean, dissolved. What can one say about that? When something has been cleaned and it doesn't exist anymore. And when it doesn't exist anymore, it doesn't exist anymore. So all we knew is hate. All we knew is bad. We had no knowledge of good. We had no knowledge of God. Yahweh ben Yahweh say that Yahweh couldn't send a prophet to do this job. He had to come himself because our minds were clean, dissolved. We were so void. It took the spirit of Yahweh to move, to resurrect us. And this day, we still see our family wandering around trying to make it happen, trying to make things happen. But it's only because we won't use the formula that Yahweh ben Yahweh gave us. We'll talk a whole lot about the formula when we get to Power Talk. Praise Yahweh. Greetings, family. Sorry I haven't posted in a while. I've been very busy self-publishing my new book entitled Ethics: How to Achieve Heaven on Earth. It has truly been a labor of love. I have researched and compiled wisdom over the last 32 years for this book, and now I present it to you. This book will truly enhance your life and change your perspective on the world today. Shalom Aleichem, family. This YouTube channel needs your help. As you know, good works in this world will never be monetized. So I'm asking that the supporters, followers, true believers, and disciples of Yahweh to help this channel to continue to publish the good works and the fame of the Most High, Yahweh. Praise Yahweh. How much do you love Yahweh? Put your money where your heart is and be blessed. And now, your video.
Praise unto Yahweh, and Yahweh be Yahweh. From the nation of Yahweh,
YahwehRadio.com. YahwehRadio.com.
step on into
YahwehRadio.com.
Let nobody
Turn me away from Yahweh.
YahwehRadio.com.
Yahweh ben Yahweh is a great God and a great King above every
YahwehRadio.com.
holy name. You ain't worthy. It's truly God. Yeah.
Rescuing our future since 2004. From beginner to advanced. From melodies to mastery. From practice to performance. Neo Jazz School of Music, creating space for young people to express and to grow. Now with 2 locations, New Orleans and Miami. Enroll today at neojazz.org.
To enjoy perfect rest. To enjoy perfect sleep. To enjoy perfect peace. Primordial vibration. Subscribe today.
Yahweh Virtual University is now providing free weekly Saturday classes for students of all ages. Yes, you've heard that right. Our free Saturday Bible Fun classes allow students to create fun projects while learning Yahweh mathematics, reading, writing, and of course, amazing Bible stories. Click the link in the description below to see the correct age group and time students should join our free Bible Fun classes. We look forward to seeing you each Saturday. Praise Yahweh forever.
What do all these people have in common besides a beautiful smile, healthy teeth, and gums? They all use Zodi toothpaste. Zodi toothpaste is made with all natural ingredients. Zodi toothpaste is fortified with moringa and baking soda. Zodi toothpaste is suds-free, making it an excellent choice for kids. All natural, fortified, and suds free. Get yours today at noystore.com.
Praise Yahweh. We have a lot going on in the nation of Yahweh, as you see all those commercial spots. You know, it's for us to come together and begin to do business with ourselves. You know, that's what will build our nation, when we come together and do business with each other. You know, that's why all other nations have a nation, have a homeland. They come together, they do business with each other, even when they're in somebody else's land, as we see with the ethnic groups that inhabit America. And remember in the message, Yahweh ben Yahweh said, see, America is the place where all nations and all languages is spoken. But how many Chinese people come to our neighborhood to do business with us? How many Jewish people seek us out to do business? And we can go on and on. How many Koreans? How many? What? Who comes to us to do business? Who seeks out the so-called black man of America to do business? And we wonder why we don't own any land or any homeland, or we're not sovereign anywhere. Because we have to do business with ourselves. But that's not the subject. The subject is the reason why we won't come together and do that. The reason why we won't come together and do that is plain. Our minds have been dissolved. We are void. We lack understanding. And until Yahweh ben Yahweh came, all we were full of is hate. We hated ourselves. We hated our lives. We hated our jobs. We hated our parents. We hated our children. We hated our spouse. You know, he went on and on to talk about we hated hate. We were so hateful because that's all we were taught. During slavery, you know, in the slave-making process of stripping us of our humanity or our knowledge of ourself, which we know the EL in self is the knowledge of our God. We can't know self if we don't know our particular God. We know there's gods many, and all nations have their own national God. To strip of us of our humanity, we had to be stripped of ourself, and the main part of ourself is that EL in us that represents our God. Yahweh ben Yahweh illustrated today how this is not a modern problem. You know, in the past, when we were enslaved in Egypt, we were so void of understanding that we caused Moses not to be able to go into the promised land. Moses himself couldn't go because we were so bad. The people were just so dead time and time again. They returned to their old ways of that slave mindset to another people. Look at us today. As a whole, our people are still trying to assimilate to somebody else's culture. We still have us running around trying to look like other people and dress like other people. And dare I say, even those of us who are moving in a conscious manner, sometimes we forget our focus and direction and how that it's all based on being good. It's all based on reforming our lives from what we were taught all our lives to what the most honorable Yahweh ben Yahweh came and taught us. We had to transform our lives from the talk of the teachings of this world, Satan, who deceived the whole world, to the teachings of the most honorable Yahweh ben Yahweh, who is Yahweh in the flesh. He said he had to come himself to do this job. And look at us. There are those of us who are resurrected and ready to come together. But we still have to focus. We still have to begin to compromise our status in life, to humble ourselves, to learn how to work together. You know, because we may have achieved a few things in life and, you know, are achieving things in life, that doesn't mean we have all the answers. Because when you really look at those achievements, are they based on this dying world? Are they held up by these systems that are in place currently that will be replaced very soon? Well, praise Yahweh. And there's a whole lot of other things to consider in this message today, but I'm going to turn and bring my co-host in today, Mr. Yizrakia, which is his professional name in his music, but we all know him as Yael, Yisrael. Yael, what you think about this subject?
Well, shalom, everybody. It's good to be here today. I think it's a very good subject, and a lot of us have probably heard this message plenty of times, but we really can break it down in Genesis. And it's funny, as you study the Bible, I don't know if you know what a fractal is, but it's kind of like a mathematical pattern that no matter where you look in the pattern, you can see the same pattern. Whether you look at the corner, it looks the same. Whether you look at the whole thing, it looks the same. Well, it's kind of like the Bible is like that. As you look at certain passages that you think have nothing to do with another part, but is actually the same as what's going on today. What is it? As it shall be in the days of Noah, so it is today. Well, our mind being void and dissolved, you know, the form of the earth being void and dissolved that Yahweh was going into is how we are today. And the third definition of dissolve on dictionary.com, and I'm sure there's even more potent definitions, but even on these simple definitions, the third definition of dissolve is to undo, and in parentheses, a tie or bond, break up, in parentheses, a connection, union, etc.
Wow.
So our bonds have been broken. And if we stick to that one point, when all the nations look upon us and they realize that this supposed people, you know, this supposed family, their bonds are broken. You know, they're not the same as us. Other people who are connected and are of a union, who can work together. And they see that chaos and they don't want anything good to do with us. They definitely willing to exploit our weakness. But we don't even have to get into all of that. We need to get our connections back. We need to get our unions back, you know. And the only way for that to happen is for, well, what Yahweh ben Yahweh did. Yahweh moved upon the face of the waters.
That's right.
And that's the only thing, because if you're void, if you're empty, how can you get something inside of you? You're empty. You need something else outside of you to act on you.
To come in to fill you up. Absolutely. Yeah, that's deep. Well, it is mathematical formulas, just like them systematically taking us away and making of the slave mindset. You had to sever the connection from our history, and you said it directly. That definition talks about, you know, our minds being dissolved. That means we were disconnected from Yahweh, disconnected from our true culture, our language, our land, our history, and we were disconnected from ourselves. And to this day, we remain disconnected from each other. And that's our power. That's all nations' power. When you look at China and you look at Chinese army, they're connected because everybody in their army is Chinese and fighting for the Chinese. Everybody in their army is Chinese. When you go to any other country, when you look at their military, Their military is comprised of the people who are determined to defend their nation. Where's our army?
Mm-hmm.
And we're not even talking about fighting physically. Go ahead.
Well, I would say the eighth definition of dissolve is to destroy the binding power or influence.
Ooh.
So our power to bind together has been destroyed. Our power to influence in a way that binds us together is destroyed. We know we're great at influencing stuff without even trying, but we can't influence each other to bind together because we have no binding power. It's been dissolved. When you dissolve something, it breaks apart. Every little part starts to separate, and you can't put it back together without another outside acting force.
Well, you just described Ezekiel in the Valley of Dry Bones. These bones were dissolved and disconnected, and then the Spirit of Yahweh had to come and breathe life into them where they came back together. And we know the parable of the Valley of Dry Bones. We know that that's our former selves in America, and indeed, there are still dry bones that are waking up now, and we have to facilitate the coming together of our body parts, because once we come together, we form a whole body of Yahweh. And that is the true nation of Yahweh. The body of Yahweh is the nation of Yahweh. Now, who among us will come together and form that body? You know, when you think about situations on the ground, we know that what Yahweh ben Yahweh built, according to prophecy, had to break in pieces. But those pieces were supposed to eventually come together and consume the world. And indeed, we live in those days of the dry bones coming together. Now, there are tried and proven methods, mathematical calculations and methods that Yahweh ben Yahweh gave to us. And as long as we avoid of those things, we don't allow those things to be on the forefront of our minds, then we still susceptible to the lies and deceptions of Satan.
Yeah, and that you bring up void, the first definition of void is the law definition in dictionary.com. And it says having no legal force or effect, not legally binding or enforceable.
We are not legally binding people. We can't enforce anything according to this definition.
And we have no legal force or effect. All the laws that run our lives don't come from us. Even though, you can become a senator and be a black man, still, these laws, this Constitution wasn't written for us. And it really isn't written for people. It's more of a deception. But that's the only place we get our laws from. The moment another black person tries to enforce laws on a black person, there's going to be a fight. There's going to be, chaos. And they could have both even agreed to it, but it won't last, you know? And it goes back to us not having the binding power. And for so long, our people have tried to come together. You know, there's these leaders who aren't the Lion of Judah,
right?
Who try to resurrect us up, but it comes together for a time and then it falls away. Now you may think, oh, that's not fair. These white people doing this and these blah, blah, blah doing that. Well, we're not all dead. We're still here. We still know the stories of these people. Why haven't we come together?
Right.
Other nations, there's Palestinians getting blown to bits and pieces and they're still together. They're still a group.
Right.
They still are for the Palestinians. They're not particularly, I'm sure there's Oreos or Uncle Toms everywhere, but they have a whole group of people, and it's not like, oh, we're just Americans, or we're just this.
Right.
Other people have gone through all kinds of travesties and hell and remain together. They still have a binding power. They'll have a bad king, and they'll still, after the bad king, still be together. They might still try the same, government. And I'm not saying that makes them better or special, but you see what we lack. We lack binding power. We find a problem with a leader, we destroy the whole group. We find a problem with a person in the group, we just can't stay together. There's always something that pulls us apart.
Well, it's like the propaganda with, Yahweh being Yahweh, how the devil get up there and say some just stupid lies that nobody with any sense would believe. But our people will let that be like, oh, yeah, I believe that. Yeah. Only because somebody is being prosperous, somebody is doing good, and we don't like doing good because we're full of hate. So we start hating on the people who do good. We see it in our own family sometimes. When you're able to help a person like a cousin or a grown child or an auntie or something like that, you able to help them and they resent you for being able to help them in a time of need. We've seen that happen. What is that?
Well, I mean, let's think of it in the context of the conversation. Even in our families, which is down to the atomized unit of what makes up a nation, down to the families, there's no bonding power. And yes, our enemies have definitely promoted us to separate as much as possible. They promote that for their own people, even though they still, whilst doing that, have a nation and are bonded together. But they know for us, destroying that idea of family. Oh yeah, what is it? It's Thanksgiving again. I don't want to go hear my uncle talk. I don't really like these people. These people don't really like me, but we can get together and party, and that's about it.
Well, one of the definitions of nation is a group of individuals significantly conscious of their unity by their culture and by their language and by the very things that bind them together, like a language, makes for that tie of unity that we call ourselves a nation, but where's that unity in the nation of Yahweh? Where's the unity to unify? We're supposed to be one mind, one God, one mind, one love, and one action. Where is that taking place? Where do we see that happening? Well, we have to cause it to happen. And it's just that time, family. It's time for us to cause these things to happen. Now, look forward to some very high profile unifying events that will be taking place very, very soon. Just stay your ears open on Unfolding Light. Listen to Yahweh Radio. It's being reformatted and there'll be more information coming out, and it will be talking directly to us, the nation of Yahweh, because that's who it's for. It's like other nations. They have their own sources of information. They can talk to their nation right now with you not hearing about it. Can you do that? Yes, we can. Yes, we feel like Obama. Yes, we can. We can do that, but we have to choose to do that. Well, Yael, Yizrakia, artist name. We're at that time when we're going to open it up for our family to join in. But I just wanted to, I don't know if the family knows about your career as a composer, as a pianist, as a producer, and as an engineer right now. You're doing it all as it relates to some heavenly spiritual music. The world calls it jazz, but Yahweh loves the instrumental music called jazz. So you have a new project coming out?
Yeah, I have a new album coming out called Sunlight, and y'all should look forward to hearing it on Yahweh Radio.
Praise Yahweh.
Be on the lookouts for that.
All right, praise Yahweh. Now it is that time for us to bring our family into the conversation. Sister Tamar always tell you how to do it. You can unmute yourselves by using a *6, I believe, and you can also raise your hand and be recognized. And let's talk about this situation that we were listening to our Father, the wisdom we was listening to him give us today about when he came to us. Our conditions was we were totally dissolved as a people. I mean, totally. There was no unity among us. There was no even significant movement going on. All of that had been crushed and stifled. And we were running around, trying to get our hair curled and stuff, Jerry curls. And we were doing all kinds of crazy things when Yahweh Ben Yahweh appeared. So family, if you'd like to join the conversation, feel free to unmute yourself or to raise your hand and chime in on this subject. So Yael, when we talk about unity among our people, some of the things that keep us away from each other is, they have movements. They always have movements. Like at the turn of the century, they had a feminist movement, and they adopted our people into that movement, but that movement wasn't for us. Even when we went to the civil rights movement, we had to the point to where, we want civil rights, but it didn't mean unity among our people. It meant giving our dollars to another people. I mean, what came out of the civil rights struggle is we're able to come and spend our money with you without you treating us bad. I think we do have a caller. All right, caller with your line unmuted. You are live on Power Talk. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Power Talk.
Shabbat Shalom, family. Praise Yahweh. Praise Yahweh Ben Yahweh. Can you hear me okay? I know there was an echo.
Yes, ma'am. You're fine now. Praise Yahweh. Go right ahead.
Praise Yahweh. Family, this is a wonderful, wonderful class. It is just such a blessing to be here. And we have to truly learn how to be grateful for everything that Yahweh has given us. It's just amazing to hear our young people. I'm so happy to hear our dear brother Yael here today, and how we are learning how to truly develop our young people into the bright stars that we need. Because guess what, family? We're talking about binding each other, coming together, legally binding each other. So guess what? In order for us to come together, this is one of the definitions here in bind, okay? It is to cause to cohere or stick together in mass. That is huge. So what is going to cause us to do that? What is going to cause that to happen? Well, guess what? We, as the ones that are awake, the ones that have been directly fed with the word of Yahweh, those of us that are here today have to continue to produce. And I'm talking about producing everything and anything you possibly can. That way, we can now purchase from each other, because we have things to purchase from each other. We can stop depending on the world. So guess what? If we need some grapes, I need to be able to go to my brother that produces grapes. I'm not going to think about Publix or any other store. You see where I'm coming from with this? In other words, stop depending on the world as a nation of people and gradually start becoming our own suppliers. So now I'm binding to those that I want to support. And then speaking on that, I want to say things like we also have to learn how to become our own, for instance, notarizers. Why do we have to notarize? Why do we have to go to someone else to make a document real? Why do we have to go to the government for their seal of approval on anything? Like right now, we have to do copyrights. I'm presently working on a poetry book. We have to go to them to say my book is copywritten. My word is just as good as anybody else's word. If I date and I could show proof that I have this particular document created at such a time, and I'm the owner of it, we are just as good as anyone else. That's where I'm coming from. We have to understand that when Yahweh says, come out of her, that means everything. When Israel left Egypt, that was everything. And we start to produce our own in everything. And I got to put in a plug for my sister Zabia, Zadi toothpaste. Oh my goodness. Family, when I tell you that is the absolute best. And this is coming from a daughter of a mom who was a dental assistant. And I spent a lot of time in dental offices. And I could not use regular toothpaste because I just, it would, my gums would bleed and we'd have issues. And I was like, oh no, baking soda or salt is all I used to brush my teeth with. I've used the Zyde toothpaste for over a month and no problems. It is the perfect toothpaste, family. You have to use it. Trust me, it works. So family, bind together by being master producers. Cause your children to be engineers, like I hear our brother producing right now. Get your grandchildren to be masters at everything, and you will see our nation rise up in the midst of all of this chaos, a righteous nation. I'm so happy to be able to share, family. Love you all. Praise Yahweh ben Yahweh.
Praise Yahweh. I certainly like to thank Yahweh for giving you the wisdom to share and for you sharing consistently stuff that we need to think about, we need to consider, we need to understand, because this is where our unity comes from, us producing. You know, we know that if nobody among us makes socks and we need socks, darn it, we have to go to another nation. So how about one of us begin to at least sell socks so that we can patronize you as a middleman? See, it's just that easy. Then if we patronize you enough, you begin to be able to do the whole process. You be able to have a cotton field. You be able to have a machine that picks the cotton and a mill that mills it into the material and making the material. And then pretty much you got just machines to make your socks, and there you go. You're a manufacturer. All because we bought your socks that you bought wholesale and sold retail. That's a process. That's a formula. These are the things that we have to talk about. Brother Yael is in the music industry, and now one of the main places for your music to be heard is Spotify, but Spotify is pretty much stealing your music and, you know, paying you fractions of pennies for people to listen to it. It has become one of those legal thievery things that you volunteer because you have no other platform. You have no other way to go, no recourse. You know, we have to begin to support ourselves. We can't let places like these big corporations steal our merchandise because it's the only game in town to get your music heard, you know, on this out there. It used to be the record labels, but they're not the gatekeepers anymore because you have the internet. And then you have Spotify. So we want to blow up our websites. We want to blow up our stores and our merchandise stores where you can get copies of our intellectual property, you know, like music that is designed for you to uplift you into that realm where Yahweh ben Yahweh has raised us up, to keep our mind stayed on Yahweh. That's what Yahweh Radio, and that's what the music is all about. And producing that music, how you feel about those they're forcing us down into this cone of where they exploit us as musicians?
Well, I say they have no problem binding us legally, binding us morally, binding us spiritually or mentally, intellectual. They have lots of binds that they put on you in different ways. But the truth is, we need to bind, or rather we need to allow Yahweh's binding to take hold, because like Yahweh said, the solution is that Yahweh moved upon the face of the deep, and the 8th definition of bind is to hold to a particular state, place, or employment. The 7th, and I can go on a lot in that 8th, but the 7th is to unite by any legal or moral tie.
Ooh.
So in order for us to bind each other and to bind ourselves, we need to unite by the legal tie that is Yahweh, by the moral tie that is Yahweh, and then we can bind, we can combine. But we can be legally effectual. We can copyright our own stuff and enforce it in our own ways. And we don't have to be bound to Spotify's terms of service. You know, every app, every game,
everything
service, there's a terms of service, and you have to agree to that. And they make it as long as they can, and as boring as they can,
and full of legal jargon that is
not really English. And we have to just abide by it. We have to.
Right. We have no choice.
We have no choice. But the truth is, we do have a choice. The choice is where we put our money, and we could create all kinds of companies and apps and stuff that are morally binding through Yahweh, and that are for our people first. And boy, if we actually did make, let's say, legal, righteous governments and business, do you know that everybody on the planet would be fleeing to do business with us? Yeah. The entire script will be flipped. Instead of us going to do business with everyone else will be dying to do business with us. And us buying something from another people will be a novelty and really a blessing, because now we've got all our Father's wealth. The whole world is ours to inherit, and we'll just be a blessing to all other nations.
Absolutely.
But right now, with our mind void and us being the child of hell and all full of hate, because a whole long conversation that we can get into, but we are the way that we are. But if we flip the script, we can be bound by Yahweh, and we can be in the place that we're supposed to be together.
We can choose to do that, just like we can choose to, seek their approval. Like I was, strolling on social media, and they have all these ads about, become a certified personal trainer. It's like, I've been being a personal trainer for at least 40 years of my life, and I've trained, myself and others for years. But now I need to pay somebody else. They're telling me I can pay somebody else, go through their programming and pay them to certify me so that I can make money online doing personal training. It's like, get out of here. What are you talking about? Those are the things that we feel it necessary. Oh, well, to build my business, I need to submit to them and go get that certification, because people look out, they'll patronize me more if I'm certified. But now, what qualifies the certifier to certify me? What, we don't scrutinize? Where'd you get this certification from? Are they qualified to certify you? No. When it comes to our people, because we're clean, dissolved, and void, we just look for a certain piece of paper that looks official, and we just believe it. That's what type of situation we're dealing with, how corporations and companies can make money off of just telling you that you're qualified. Here's a piece of paper, buy it, give me $80,000 and I'll give you this piece of paper, a degree, and say you're qualified and doing something.
And their society is so bound together that people have made it pretty much tradition to overlook corruption in wherever they find it. We all know how you're not supposed to talk about politics and talk about other stuff at the table or whatever. And still, we find it legally binding. We find it very official. We find it, we should trust them, and we should go through their certifications. We can see that, oh, wait, they're funding themselves and they audit themselves and all this corruption, and we'll still go with it. So imagine how well the people can go with it if we actually have a righteous society.
Absolutely.
Because they overlook those things for one reason only. They have the luxury and the benefit of the society that they're in. So they can overlook these, wicked things going on in the institutions. As long as I can get my food, I can have my nice house, I can do my job, and blah, blah, blah. So imagine if we provide us with all those great things, legally bound by a law that's incorruptible. by at the
Yahweh's
very
law.
least, Yahweh will always enforce his law. So don't worry who's watching the watchers.
Right.
You know, a lot of
right.
political people have this problem because they're secular, and what happens is they don't have a God and they don't know the true God, so they think, well, who's the one that's telling the police when they're wrong? Who's the one that watches the government and keeps the people who
Right.
run us?
The checks
Well,
and
in our
balances.
government, with Yahweh being our king, he's the one that's going to cause the checks and balances. That doesn't mean we're going to stand around and do nothing. Of course, we're going to enforce, you know, righteousness. We're not going to have lobbyists in the nation of Yahweh. When we get trillions of dollars, we're not going to have lobbyists. Okay. But if there was one to have a lobbyist or one to try to do some of that wickedness, we as, you know, Yahweh's representatives on earth would do something about it.
Yeah,
and Yahweh is in control. Whether they make them have a heart attack, whether they get exposed, either way, we know and have faith that Yahweh will guide us throughout all of these things that the other nations just can't seem to get right.
I would love to comment, but we do have another caller. Caller with your line unmuted. You are live on Power Talk.
Praise Yahweh, Ben Yahweh family. Shalom Aleichem. This is Brother Goodell. I just wanted to share a little something with everyone. I was reading yesterday and it's just sticking in my mind so heavily. And it's in the book of Daniel. And it relates to what we're going through right now, this moment. And I just want to share that with you. I want to read a couple of verses. I'll try and move as quick as I can. Stop me if you need to. In Daniel chapter 3, verse 4, it says, "Then he herald cried aloud to you, it is commanded, O people, O nations, the languages, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye shall fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar, the king, had set up." Nebuchadnezzar is the king of Babylon, and he set up a certain standard for themselves that everybody has to worship him or else. And then on 11, it goes on further to say, "And whoso falleth not down and worship, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace." There are certain Jews, Hebrews, that had not, there are certain Jews that has set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. And when this was a report that Nebuchadnezzar got back from his spies, et cetera, and he became furious when he found out that the Hebrew boys did not worship the image that he set up, whatever that image is. And we all know more about that image. But then he was so furious, Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, "Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do you not, do you yet serve, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up?" And then the reply that the Hebrew boys, which is us, replied back to them is, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king of Nebuchadnezzar, "We are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God Yahweh, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up." Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage, his face, was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore, he spake and commanded that they should that they should heat up the furnace 7 times more than it was wont to be heated. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast him into the burning fiery furnace. I'm going to read 2 more verses real quick, and that'll be it. But basically, we can get a picture of what's happening here is that by we not taking on the ways of this world, there's a point where they're going to get to the point of the rulers. It's going to cause us to go through the fiery furnace even more so. Think about it. You can't get food, you can't get this, you can't move, you get no gas, whatever is out there that we know is going on. All of that to me is a part of it. So this is the last 2 verses I'll read, and this is 28. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake. And said, Blessed be the God Yahweh of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who had sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and have changed the king's word, and yielded their bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any God except their own God Yahweh. Therefore, I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the God Yahweh of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other God that can deliver after this sort. And I take that and I look at that, and if you kind of relate to that, I mean, we have to really, really understand who we serve, because there is no God besides Yahweh. And a lot of us say, we get weak or this and that. Yeah, we all go through our ups and downs. But when you stay in the word, Yahweh will keep you focused and keep you as strong as you want to be according to your studies. And there's nobody that's going to save us from our condition but us through Yahweh's teachings. So Yahweh has been acknowledged by the rulers of this world as the only one that can deliver us and save us. How much greater are we to praise and glorify our Father Yahweh? So praise Yahweh ben Yahweh. I just wanted to share that with everybody. Thank you for letting me share.
Praise Yahweh. I thank Yahweh for putting that on your spirit to say.
Yes, sir.
All right. We got somebody unmuted. There we go. All right. Thank you, brother. Praise Yahweh. And now, to understand that the reality of it is that there will be many that will tell you to, choose. You're going to choose your God, or you're going to choose your job. You're going to choose your God, or you're going to choose, you're going to choose what they're telling you to choose, like as it relates to a medical procedure to stay working. If you don't choose to do that, you don't choose to do that. And then you're taking a choice, making a choice. So we're actually toward the end of this episode. And so, Yael, we're going to move right into final thoughts. Your final thoughts about the message today?
Yeah, is that we have to. Well, a lot of what we talked about is business, is some of the work. If Yahweh's face has moved upon if Yahweh's moved upon the face of the deep, which is us, or whoever claims to be, a true disciple of Yahweh, we got to do business together, and we got to be productive together. We got to be profitable together, because the law of Yahweh is going to save us. It's not going to continue to dissolve us. It's not going to continue to make us poor and at the bottom of society and have nothing for ourselves. It does the opposite. So let's begin, family, living that bind, being binded together through our spirituality culture and through our business and through Yahweh. Let's be bind together and let's act like it. Let's do it and live it.
Praise Yahweh. And thank you for coming today. And your new CD will be out next month. And I'm sure you'll hear more about that. Also, Ethics, How to Achieve Heaven on Earth, the book will be out next month also. And we'll talk more about that. But there's one part of that book that I wanted to highlight in my final thought. It's the understanding of the scripture that says, those who lead in captivity shall go in captivity. The same systems that they use to enslave us is now the systems that they're using to enslave the world. So Yahweh is exactly as he prophesied things would be. That's exactly how things are turning out. You have to have that perception. You have to perceive past the mainstream, or as they call it now, the legacy media that just is Satan's tools of telling you lies. And you have to seek out that information to understand the truth about, choose you this day. Who you going to choose? You're going to choose scientists, or you're going to choose to be steadfast with your God and his law, statute, judgments, and commandments, and be bound by those things for salvation. You can be bound by the scientists who have admitted that they lie and say whatever people pay them to say, the people who pay them to do research. These are the corrupt systems that are prevalent in this society, so prevalent that you don't really realize that all of them are from a wicked perspective. There's no benevolent, righteous perspective for any of these modern systems. That's why they're being destroyed. And they're imploding and destroyed because they can't maintain something that is so bad and destructive. Eventually you destroy everybody who's patronizing you, and so therefore you destroy yourself. So Yahweh is God over all of that. And all we have to do is choose unity in the law, statute, judgments, and commandments, and ethical behavior, and we will reap the blessings of Yahweh. Praise Yahweh. That brings us to the end of this episode of The Unfolding Light. Please join us next week for another episode of The Unfolding Light. And now, if everybody will stand and face the east with outstretched hand, as we close out this episode with a prayer, the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Tefillah. Avenu Shabbat Shemayim, Yikadesh Shemeaka, Tavo Malkuterika, Yad Zerizonka, Kim Vashamayim Kain Ba'aretz, Et Lekum Kukenu, Tain Lanu Hayom, Uslat Lanu, All Kartienu, Kimosa Sol King, Gamanatnu, Lakotiem Lanu, Veal Tevienu, Lade Nisayom, King Kal Senu, Min Hara, Kilaka, Hamamlaha, Veha Givera, Veha Tefieret, Leolame, Olamin Sela. We thank thee, O Yahweh, O living and eternal King, who has so mercifully restored our souls within us. So let everything that has breath praise Yahweh. And always remember, Yahweh loves you, Yahweh Ben Yahweh loves you, and so does the nation of Yahweh. Shabbat Shalom, family.
Thank you for joining The Unfolding Light, presented by the Nation of Yahweh. If you have any comments or questions, please email us at info@thenationofyhwh.com. Follow us online at thenationofyahweh.com, theunfoldinglight.com, and at yahwehbenyahweh.biz. Get social with us. Follow the Nation of Yahweh on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Also, do remember to pay Yahweh and yourselves first and don't touch it, as instructed by the Honorable Yahweh Ben Yahweh. You can send your tithes, donations, and offerings to the Nation of Yahweh at P.O. Box 555-115, Orlando, Florida 32855. And be blessed continually, according to Malachi chapter 3, verse 10. Praise Yahweh. Shalom, shalom.
Stop your crying. Stop your crying. It's gonna be alright. Stop your lying, children. It's gonna be alright. Stop worrying. Stop this worrying going on. It's gonna be alright, man. Cause you see, Yahweh Ben Yahweh is here now. Well, he's a man with a wonderful, wonderful life. You'll be praying all night long. Well, cause you see, you don't know if you're going to get up in the morning and lose your home. Well, cause you see, I got all these children going on, and I don't want them to starve. And that's why you got to go and bow down to somebody who ain't God. A man on your job. Well, yeah. The mighty God is here now. The Son. I'm talking about the Son, Yahweh, Ben Yahweh. So you can quit all this foolishness and going on, but we living in a brand new day. Well, stop your moaning. It's gonna be alright. Stop your groaning, children. It's gonna be alright. Have no more kids. But you see, Yahweh, when Yahweh came, round about long in this time, it's short our years. Well, stop your begging. It's time to do your part. And quit being lazy, my children. That it's time to stop. Stop doing what you want to do. Start doing the things you're supposed to do. Get up off of your knees and be so good. Study real hard because he said you know you could. Well, be the way he wants you to be because he said he know you can. He want all the sisters to join together and be woman and all the brothers to be